Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through all that noise, the usual productivity hacks, and we're looking at something deeper. We're doing a deep dive into effective time management, but through a really interesting lens, Islamic principles. We'll be pulling wisdom from the Quran and Hadith. Before we get started, just a quick heads up, you can find more great stuff like this over at Mind Expansion Daily. Seriously, check it out. And hey, if you like what we're doing here, if you find this valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. Liking it really helps the algorithm show this to more people, helps us grow that reach. Also, if you feel like this deep dive gives you something useful, maybe consider buying us a coffee. The link's right there in the description. It helps us keep doing this research. And one last thing, a challenge. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop your location in the comments. Let's see how global this conversation is. Oh, and also, let us know if you agree or disagree with our take on how these ancient ideas fit into modern life. Okay, let's dive in. We all feel it, right? The constant pressure, the endless demands of, well, the 21st century. Procrastination, social media pulling you away, notifications pinging. It feels overwhelming sometimes.
It really does. And, that feeling isn't just a personal failure, it's almost baked into the modern way of life. Our sources suggest this kind of chaos often happens because we lack clear priorities, or maybe we haven't really connected what we do with what we value.
Right. So we're spending time, but not really.
Yeah,
Investing it wisely.
exactly. That's the core problem. See, most modern time management is about squeezing out more output, getting more done. But what's really fascinating about the Islamic perspective we're exploring is that it starts somewhere totally different. It's a philosophical shift. Time isn't just, clocked minutes. It's seen as a precious, finite resource. A divine gift, actually.
A divine gift. Wow.
Yeah, and because it's fleeting, the real mission becomes using it wisely. It emphasizes quality and intention over just sheer quantity.
Okay, so the foundation isn't a to-do list app. It's this shift in consciousness about how valuable every single moment is. That sounds like it immediately makes being intentional much more, well, crucial.
Oh, absolutely. It raises the stakes significantly. And perhaps the most powerful statement on this comes from one of the shortest chapters in the Quran, Surah Al-Asr. It means the declining day. It says basically, by time indeed, mankind is in loss.
In loss. That sounds pretty stark.
It is, it continues, except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds and advised each other to truth and advised each other to patience. Think about that. It opens with an oath on time itself, then warns that we're already losing out unless we actively engage in these four things: belief, good deeds, advising truth, and patience. So time is like a double-edged sword, and only intentional, purposeful action kind of saves you from this state of, well, loss.
That reframing is incredibly powerful. It shifts success from just ticking boxes to doing righteous deeds or maybe value-aligned actions.
Precisely. Actions that have meaning and purpose.
But okay, how do we take that big idea and, actually use it day to day? The sources mentioned some really practical advice too, right? That hadith about seizing 5 things.
Ah, yes, that hadith. It's like the ultimate practical guide against putting things off. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, advised us to take advantage of 5 matters before 5 other matters.
Okay, what are they?
Your youth before you become old, your health before you fall sick, your wealth before you become poor, your free time before you become busy, and your life before you're deaf.
Wow. Okay, that's direct.
It really is. It's a command for radical prioritization based on the fact that these things are finite. They won't last forever. It forces you, the listener, to do a quick internal check like, okay, if you know your health isn't guaranteed, does that change how you prioritize exercise or doctor's appointments today?
Good point.
Or if you have free time now, that's a resource you need to invest wisely, maybe in learning or relationships, because you know busyness is likely coming. It's a real call to be mindful and urgent about it.
So if these spiritual texts lay out the why, time is limited, use it well, then the practical side must give us the how. How do we actually structure our days, our weeks around this high-stakes view of time? Let's get into that practical framework.
Right. So for Muslims, the main structural anchor for managing time is the 5 daily prayers called Salah. There's Fajr at dawn, Dhuhr around noon, Asr in the mid-afternoon, Maghrib at sunset, and Isha at night. Now, these aren't just spiritual duties. They act like 5 mandatory checkpoints spread throughout the day. They create this rhythm of stopping, reflecting, and recalibrating.
That structure sounds really disciplined. But Playing devil's advocate a bit here, for someone working intensely, wouldn't 5 required breaks kind of kill their focus? Like, if you're in a flow state, isn't that constant stopping counterproductive?
That's a really fair question, and it actually touches on a key psychological benefit, believe it or not. Yes, there's a small cost to switching tasks, but these mandatory breaks create essential temporal boundaries. Think about it. Modern work often just bleeds into personal life, right? Because we lack clear stopping points.
Totally. The workday never really ends.
Exactly. Sala forces that context switch, not just an optional break, but a mandatory moment of reflection. It helps prevent burnout and task saturation. Fajr, the dawn prayer, encourages an early focus start. Then, Sajr, mid-afternoon, is a built-in time to pause and ask, okay, am I still on track with my main goals? Did I get sidetracked?
Okay, so the takeaway for anyone listening, regardless of their faith, is maybe scheduling regular, non-negotiable breaks. And crucially, using them for reflection, not just scrolling your phone.
Precisely that. That achieves a similar structural benefit. It breaks up the day, gives you automatic resets, and honestly, it can reduce that urge to just push work off till later.
Interesting. It builds discipline.
It does, and that discipline connects directly to the second practical piece, setting intentional goals, which is called niyyah. Niyyah means intention. But in this context, it's about making sure every action, every task aligns with a bigger, value-driven purpose.
Right, niyyah. How does that help with the stuff we all dread, like, say, spending hours on boring admin or clearing out an email inbox? How does niyyah make that purposeful?
Well, it connects that seemingly low-level task to your high-level goal. So if your bigger intention is, say, career success, which is seen as a valid worldly pursuit or maybe serving your family well, then clearing that inbox isn't just tedious paperwork. It becomes a necessary step towards achieving that excellence or fulfilling that duty. There's a verse that says something like, man will only have what he strives for. So by applying niyyah, you are striving, even in small things, it reframes it.
It gives it meaning.
Exactly. It transforms it from just a task into a form of service, which can actually help fight burnout.
Okay, so we have the structure, the anchors from Salah, and the direction from niyyah. What's the final piece? There must be a way to check if you're staying on course, like a feedback loop.
That's where muhasabah comes in. Self-reflection, or maybe better put, self-accountability. Muhasabah is this deliberate internal checking process. You're constantly evaluating your actions and intentions against the standard you set with your niyyah. There's guidance that says the wise person is one who holds himself accountable and works for what comes after death. So it's not just fuzzy reflection. It's quite practical self-assessment.
How does that work in practice? What kind of questions should someone be asking themselves, like daily or weekly for muhasabah?
It goes beyond just, what did I get done? It asks, how well did I use my limited resources, time, energy, even money? So a weekly muhasabah might involve asking, did my actions this week actually match my intentions? Where did I waste time? Be specific. Was it scrolling? Was it pointless meetings?
Ouch.
Did I let urgent but unimportant things distract me from what really mattered? If you find, you spent 2 hours aimlessly online, muhasabah prompts you not towards guilt, but towards solutions. Like, okay, tomorrow I'll schedule 2 focused work blocks to make up for that lost time. It's about continuous improvement.
Let's talk about the big enemy. Procrastination. We all face it. Often it comes from, fear, self-doubt, just the sheer size of a task. How do these teachings tackle that?
Yeah, procrastination is huge. The teachings counter it by really emphasizing immediate action combined with a kind of spiritual resolve. The advice is basically, once you've decided to do something, just start. Don't wait for the perfect moment or perfect conditions. And crucially, put your trust in God or Allah. This idea of tawakkul, trust, is mentioned in the Quran, like when you have taken a decision, put your trust in Allah.
So that trust helps reduce the fear.
Exactly. It minimizes the fear of failure because the ultimate outcome isn't solely in your hands. It takes off that paralyzing pressure of needing everything to be perfect before you even begin. Just get started.
That idea of trusting and just starting.
Yeah.
It actually sounds a lot like that modern productivity tip of breaking big tasks down. If you have a huge report, just tell yourself, okay, only need to do the 10-minute outline right now.
Absolutely. It aligns perfectly. The principle is about taking consistent, manageable steps towards your goal, towards, righteousness or purpose. And interestingly, when that internal motivation flags, when you feel that laziness creeping in, there's even a spiritual tool for that, making dua. or supplication, specifically asking for refuge from laziness.
Yeah.
But for any listener, whether they use that specific tool or not, the principle holds. Acknowledge the resistance, find some lever, practical or psychological, find that inner push to just initiate the action you needs doing.
Yeah.
So putting it all together, you see the system isn't just about like ticking off more boxes faster. It's about building a life that's truly holistic and purposeful.
Yeah, connecting it all. It sounds like this balanced approach might be the key to avoiding that stress that often comes with those intense productivity drives, the burnout cycle.
I think it really is. This balanced view pushes you to mindfully address both your worldly duties, work, family, health, and your spiritual reflective duties. And that balance naturally reduces stress because you're allocating your precious time across all your values, not just one. Finishing a tough work task efficiently actually frees up mental energy and physical time for your family or for reflection or worship. It creates a kind of virtuous cycle of productivity instead of just burning out.
Okay, to make this really concrete, the sources had this great real-world example. It was a sample daily structure based on an 81-year-old visitor. It showed how these anchors create a flexible rhythm.
Yes, that example illustrates energy management really well using the prayer times. You start the day with Fajr, maybe around 4:30 a.m. Clarity is often high then. That's prime time to set your niyah for the day and tackle high-priority things like scheduling that important family visit or dealing with health stuff.
Right, use that peak morning energy. Then maybe a dedicated focus block.
Yeah.
Like 8 a.m. to noon.
Exactly. A morning focus block for the deep, complex work, capitalizing on that cognitive peak before the natural energy dip later.
Then Dur, the noon prayer, acts as that midpoint check-in.
Precisely. You pray, reflect, and then, crucially, you reassess your progress from the morning. You adjust your afternoon plan based on reality. That's muhasabah built right into the middle of the day.
And Azr, the afternoon prayer, say around 4 p.m., that lines up with when many people feel that slump.
It does. So that time might be better suited for lighter tasks, answering emails, maybe some reading, simple admin. It's about working with your energy cycles, not just pushing through them constantly. It's flexible.
Makes sense. And then the day winds down.
Yes, with Maghrib around sunset, maybe family time, then Isha prayer, and a final muhasabah around 8 p.m. You review the whole day, what worked, what didn't, and you set a clear intention and maybe a mini plan for tomorrow morning.
The structure supports the discipline. It doesn't just demand it.
That's a great way to put it. So ultimately, the transformation this kind of Islamic framework offers is, I think, pretty profound. It aims to replace that feeling of frantic busyness with focused intention. It blends mindfulness, real discipline, and clarity of purpose using these tools, salah, niyyah, muhasabah. By perhaps adopting elements of these, you move beyond just managing tasks to hopefully living a more intentional and fulfilling life.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on this week. Let's connect this right back to your life. Go back to that hadith, those 5 matters: youth, health, wealth, free time, life. Take a hard look. Which of those resources do you feel you have in relative abundance right now? And how is the awareness, maybe even the fear of eventually losing them, influencing how you prioritize your week? Are you really using your current health or your current free time intentionally before, sickness or busyness inevitably shows up? That kind of honest reckoning with your finite resources, that might be the most powerful, timeless takeaway here.
That's a fantastic challenge. And yeah, as we wrap up, don't forget our comment challenge. Let us know where you're listening from, help us map our reach, and definitely tell us, do you agree or disagree with this deep dive summary? Can these ancient principles really help with modern time management? We want to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. And one last time, if this discussion sparked something for you, if you found it valuable, please check the description for that link to buy us a coffee. It genuinely helps support the show and our research.
Thank you so much for joining us for the deep dive.
Until next time, stay curious and maybe stay a little more intentional with your time.